Hello everyone, welcome back to ATBP Gaming again. Today I want to talk about something that is simple to say, but I think it is very difficult to live. About planning for the future, thinking long term, and why for many people like me who are poor, it feels almost impossible. When people are not struggling financially, they often say things like just save more or plan ahead. They tell you to make a budget, work harder, to invest in your future. And on paper, it makes sense, but living day by day with very little money is very difficult from reading advice from a book or online or hearing it from people who are already secure. I have seen how hard it is to think about the future when survival comes first. When every day is about making enough money to eat, pay bills, long-term plans become a luxury. You know, it is a not laziness. You know, it is not about irresponsibility. I think it is simply the reality of life when resources are scarce. Sometimes I want to save money. I try to put aside a little from my earnings, but then something unexpected comes up. A sudden bill or a family member who needs help or just even transportation costs that are higher than usual. Those small things make the future impossible to plan. Even a small expense can undo the careful saving I tried to do. I know some people might say, that everyone has emergencies. Poor people are not the only ones who cannot plan, and I understand that. But the difference is how often these emergencies happen and how much impact they have. For someone living with a very little, a single day without income can destroy the budget for the week. A single medical expense or transportation can make it impossible to pay for food. That is a reality that most people with steady income may never experience. Even when I am careful, even when I do everything right, I feel pressure. I cannot ignore work because one mistake can reduce my income. If I call in sick, I may receive a smaller paycheck. That creates, guilt because now there is even less to make it to the next payday. Even when I work hard, sometimes the money goes directly to the bills, leaving nothing for me or even my family to enjoy a small treat. Some viewers might think, why not just budget better or why not work harder or look for a different job. And I want to explain, budgeting is not always enough when income is irregular or small. Working harder is not always possible, because the body has limits. If I push too much, I get dizzy, I feel weak, and I risk getting sick. So if I get sick, I cannot work at all, and then everything becomes worse. So even the simplest advice can feel impossible to follow when you are struggling to survive. And for looking for a new job, just forget it. Uh, if you are in my country, you will understand. Most of the time, if you look for a high paying job, you need to have a backer, like, someone inside so that they can recommend you. those things. I think I already explained that on the previous video. It is exhausting, both physically and mentally. You cannot just think about what you want in a month or year. You think about today, you know, about whether the next payday will be enough. You learn to make choices between small comforts and necessities. You might skip meals, delay small needs, or cancel plans with loved ones because even a minor expense can create problems later. Some people may also respond that it is depressing to hear this, and yes, it is heavy. Life like this is not easy. Some people may respond, it is depressing to hear this, and yes, it is heavy. Life like this is not easy. It is emotionally draining, but sharing it is important because it shows a reality that many do not see. It is not about self-pity, okay? I just want you to understand that it is about understanding, about reflecting on the daily decisions, sacrifices, and pressure that comes with living with very little. Even with all of this, people like me continue, adapt. We find small ways to survive, to save a little, plan where possible. Sometimes it is just mental preparation, Sometimes it is asking for help from family or friends. Even small steps can feel like progress, even if it's not, perfect. And I share this not to make excuses, just to let you know. I just want to rant about this so people can understand that planning for the future is not a simple choice when you are poor. I share this not to make excuses, just to let you know. I share this so people can understand that planning for the future is not simple when you are struggling day by day. And I think this is just to reflect for myself, reminding myself that it is okay to struggle as long as you are doing something, against it, for the lack of term. As you know, I'm not good in English, so I apologize. So it is okay to struggle as long as you do something about it. It is okay to feel frustrated, and it is okay when the system makes it difficult to move forward. You know, Living like this teaches you resilience, to adapt, and I think to focus on what is essential and let go of what is beyond your control. But it is also a constant reminder that fairness and opportunity are not equal for everyone. Some people can plan and save easily because they have security or connections. Others must balance survival every single day, like me. So, if you are watching this and you feel like life is holding you back, or feel guilty for not planning perfectly, uh, you are not alone. Many people face this pressure quietly every day, and the hardest part is not failing. It is the constant calculation, worry, and the feeling that one mistake can affect everything. You know, Even when advice seems simple, it can feel impossible, and that is the reality of being poor. Sometimes surviving today is more important than planning for the tomorrow. So that is it for now. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your time here. And as usual, comment down your thoughts, opinions, or stories. I would like to read them. And of course, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.